Hey, welcome back to another ballistics scale test. I've got another 30-30 load for you today. We're going to be shooting Federal PowerShok 170 grain. And let's take a look at the box and the ammo real quick. So here is that 170 grain 30-30 PowerShok. Here is the literature on the back of the box. If you want to pause and read that stuff, let's go ahead and take a look at the ammo in the box. Pull it out. It comes in these plastic ammo holders, and these are actually belt loops that you can put on your belt or a sling. Apparently, I have never seen anyone actually do that, but that is what those are for. And Federal ammo always looks just incredibly clean. You can see the primers are all sealed. They have some blue lacquer on them, and I'll pull a cartridge out. It is just super clean, and this is their base level ammo, the blue box PowerShok, but it just looks incredible. It looks like premium stuff. And my test rifle today is going to be my 1980s vintage Glenfield Model 30A, basically a Marlin Model 336. It has a 20-inch barrel up top. I have a vintage Leopold M8 4X scope, and bringing up the rear, of course, I have one of my Mason leather cartridge cuffs. I've got the caliber stamped into it right there. Check out my website, masonleather.com. I would absolutely love to make you one. And let's come around to the other side. I want to show you, I've got my white-tailed deer design on this one. We'll be taking 3 shots from 100 yards, firing into 10% ballistics gel that has been calibrated to meet the FBI's ballistics testing protocol. And while ballistics gel isn't an exact proxy for big game, it does provide a repeatable medium through which to test various bullets and ammo against each other. After the shots, we'll examine bullet expansion, weight retention, penetration, and velocity. My goal is to provide hunters like you and I with the most objective information possible to help us make the best choice for our particular hunting situation. The ballistics gel in this video has been sourced from Clear Ballistics. You can find a link in the description. So let's go ahead and shoot it. And we're down here at the blocks after shooting those 170 grain Federal PowerShoks out of the 30-30. I had to fire, I think, 7 or 8 rounds just to capture 2 bullets. I had some table strikes and then 1 zip out the top of this block. These things do not shoot to the same point of aim as what I have my rifle zeroed for, but whatever. Let's look at penetration. We've got really good penetration, 24.5 inches right there. And then that is the second bullet we captured down there at about 28.5 inches. And I want to point out that these bullets did get good penetration, but they didn't seem to leave, just massive wound cavities on impact. I don't think we're going to see real massive expansion. We don't see a big blow up in this first block like you do with higher velocity rounds. Just something to be aware of. And let's take a look at the velocities for that 170 grain Federal PowerShok out of the 30-30. Our high was 2113, our low was 2060, and our average was 2,086 feet per second. Bit slower than factory spec, but I've seen worse. And here we're looking at those Federal PowerShok 170 grains recovered out of the gel. First, we'll talk about weight retention. We saw 169 and 158 grains for an average of 164 grains of retained weight. That works out to 96% weight retention. That is pretty darn good, especially for a non-bonded, just lead and copper bullet. And now let's talk about expansion. We saw 0.57 inches and 0.76 inches respectively for an average of 0.67 inches. That works out to 2.2x expansion. I am really happy with that, especially for a 170 grain 30-30 bullet. Most 30-30 rounds come in 150 or 170 grains. You can find some lighter and some heavier than that, but those are the standards, and to get 2.2x expansion out of the heavier of those two weights is pretty darn good. And now we'll talk about velocity. Our high velocity was 2113, our low was 2060 for an average of 2,086 feet per second versus the factory build velocity of 2,200 feet per second. Now, of course, that build velocity is probably with a 24-inch barrel, which almost nobody's hunting with a 24-inch barreled 30-30. The overwhelming majority are 20-inch barreled carbines. So came in a little bit slow, nothing surprising, 114 feet per second slow to be precise. Velocity is the last thing I'm worried about. And finally, on to penetration, we saw 24.5 inches and 28.5 inches for an average of 26.5 inches of penetration. That is really good and about on par with other 170 grain 30-30 loads that I have tested so far. I don't know about you, but I'm happy with it. That's going to go through just about anything that I need it to. All right, y'all, time for my final thoughts on that Federal PowerShok 170 grain 30-30 load. This ammo ticked all the boxes. It really did do it all. As far as weight retention, I've got my cheat sheet here. 96% weight retention, that is just excellent. Expansion, 2.2x, which was actually a little surprising for a 170 grain 30-30 bullet. I didn't expect it to expand quite that much, especially at the somewhat lower velocity these bullets were going. Velocity-wise, if you've watched some of my other videos, you know that's the last thing that I care about. The factories are using 24-inch barrels. Nobody in the real world is, except, you know, the people using 7 mags and 300 mags maybe. The vast majority of 30-30s are using 20-inch barrels, Winchester 94s, Marlin 336s, so we almost never come close to the velocity. I'm not worried about it. And then penetration, that is where this ammo really shined. We got 26.5 inches of penetration. That is just excellent. It's going to go through anything that you need it to. If you're hunting big whitetail deer up north, big wild hogs down south, or black bear anywhere in between, this ammo is definitely something to look into. I have some big news. Lots of you have emailed me or commented how much value you get out of my videos. And you've asked me, how can you be a part of this and help support the channel? Well, I got to work and now I have a way. I've created a Patreon account where you can join me in helping our fellow hunters. Click the link in this video's description and watch my Patreon welcome video, where I describe to you how your help will impact this channel and our community of hunters as a whole. And when you join me on Patreon, you'll get a lot more than I can give you here on YouTube. You'll have to go watch that welcome video linked in the description to find out the details. I'll see you there. Hey, if you enjoy these videos, check out my website masonleather.com and get yourself some leather gear handmade by me just for you. I've been handcrafting leather gear for hunters for over a decade and I would love to make you something. The link is in the video description. And check out my channel for more hunting ammo ballistics gel tests.